Ever heard of a Mailbox Man? Meet Marcus Davis, better known as MD, the man who turned a childhood joke into a life of purpose. He used to laugh at church stories about people finding blessings in their mailboxes until one day he became the blessing. From trading stocks on Wall Street to trading kindness in silence, Marcus discovered that real success isn't about money, it's about impact. You can't be impactful unless you've been impacted, he says. And his story proves that the smallest act of giving can change everything. This is how he became a Mailbox Man.
And one more thing before we get started, y'all. Can you subscribe to my podcast and leave a review? Can you like on social media and share an episode or two? Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome to my podcast, Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Proud. I have a very eager guest today, and I promised you all some amazing guests, and today is no disappointment. Today we have the amazing Marcus Davis. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
I'm so happy to have you. Listen, I always ask my guests before we come on, I say, how would you like to be introduced? And I've never gotten this response before. Marcus says, my friends call me MD. And I was like, okay, so tell me about that.
Well, in school, it started in high school, but my name is Marcus Davis, but there were other guys named Marcus. So it was easier to just call me MD. And it still kept my initial in my name. And then that became it. What's up, MD? And everybody all my friends, that's all they know me as is, and they don't know me as Marcus. They know me as MD. Now they know that my name, they only know me as MD. Any of my friends that I went to school and college with, that's how they address me as MD. They don't say, what's up, Marcus? Okay, it's stuck. They don't say, what's up, Marcus? Nah, nobody calls me Marcus. No one calls me by my first name. Not my friend.
Me.
Yeah. See, you're new, because you're new to the family. You're new to the family. So we have to break you in. That's all.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was that like, though? Did you have like a reputation to hold up the MD standard? It never was related to doctor, right?
No, not at all. It just happened to be MD because those are my initials. And it was just easier. Calling somebody, Marcus, it was like MD was short, to the point. Everyone knew because there were other Marcuses. And to decipher, they called me MD instead of Marcus so that they never got it confused, which made it a lot easier because there were a lot of Marcuses in my class.
Mm-hmm.
So
that really stuck. So now I know that you're a trader and you have teams that you advise, and I just want to know like how you got into that arena to have the nerve to do, because when you see that kind of like on TV, it's like Wall Street, it's like everybody's down there with these papers and hollering and screaming and the phones and everything. And you do this from home daily. Is that correct?
I do. But so I don't trade as much as I used to. I have individuals that I know. Trading is all about not what you know, but who you know. Trading is about getting the inside tips. That's what trading is all about. So when you see these guys on Wall Street in a room battling back and forth, they're battling over information. Who is the information released to? Who got that tip? Who knows what's about to hit the market? All of it is information based. And so you have to do your homework, but you got to know somebody who knows somebody who knew somebody on the floor. That's how you get that inside track. So everything is about the inside track. We can all buy stocks, but we can't all win buying stocks. Does that make sense? Because we don't have the inside track. And I've just discovered over the years of trading, I had a friend And he would call me up and he said, Marcus, you need to buy some of this particular stock. And I bought it. He said, now you can't get it at the price I got because it's already out there, but it's good enough. And it was. And I did well. But that's where I got a lot of it from. And I learned how to research it for myself to know, okay, this company is coming. Let me check the news. Let me check the reports. Let me see what's going on with them. Maybe I'll invest. Maybe I won't. I'll put a little here and see what it does. And I just played around with it for years.
You have the confidence that you could do like to me it seems like foreign, like how would I know someone who knows someone. I mean, you got to have your nose to the ground, you got to be networking,
You
what's the
do.
next hottest thing. And you just shared a hot tip with me like 2 days ago, which I jumped on because you said it. But how do you have the nerve to do? I mean, I personally don't think I would know where to even start.
I don't think it's necessarily nerve. I'm not driven by that. I'm driven by trying to find things of value for the people. That's the only thing that drives me now. I used to be driven by money. You ask the things that motivate you. Money used to be my motivator. I'm not motivated by money. Money will always come, but I am motivated by putting people in a position where they can win with no strings attached and give them an opportunity that otherwise they would have never even seen. And so that's what I look for. That's what I try to discover. In this next phase of my life, it is important for me to be impactful. And that's a big word because when you look to be impactful to somebody's life, that means you're making a difference in their life. That means you're making a change in their life. You can't be impactful unless you were impacting. And I've been impacted by so many people who took the time to pour into me. And it's my turn now. It's my turn to return what was given to me, right? So
It's like a cycle,
it
you
is a
know.
cycle. It is a cycle, but it's also spiritual for me
Mhm.
because I feel like the good Lord gives everybody gifts, and He also gives them talents. And so you have to decide what you do with that gift and talent that He's given you. We all have things, but gifts are for His glory. Talents are for you. And so I believe that I've been given the gift of people. That's where I thrive. I love helping people. And it's hard to help people sometimes because everyone doesn't want your help,
Yeah.
even though they need it. And so I've just tried to find ways where I can bridge that gap and not hit them in the head, but just rub their feet a little bit. And then all of a sudden I can get to the head. And that's been my success, is just being easy to deal with.
So beautiful though, because I personally think and believe that we're put on the planet to help other people.
We are.
And I mean, I know we're put on the planet for a lot of other things, but we're put on the planet to help people. And if you really want to help other people, you don't have to look very far to find
Mm-mm.
them. Sometimes they find you,
They
you
do.
know. We had a friend over last night who's traveling across the country on a tour, and she came from California and she showed up in some sandals and a tank top. Well, we've got flurries out here today, you know? And so my wife was like, uh, do you have any like sweatshirts or I mean, it's gonna get cold. And she said, well, no, I just left like the beach and everything. So I went through my closet and, gathered up some things. And she said, I'll bring these back. I'm gonna take everything because I had nothing. And I said, no, take it. You know, it just made me feel so good
Mm,
to do that.
mm,
So it
mm,
seems like you have had a big impact in your community, and how has that played in helping you to be seen and heard with the things that you're doing today?
Great question. Um, when you make the decision to strive to be the best you can be, um, that comes with, I call it a lot of kickback sometimes, because the, you've heard this before. The pursuit of happiness only comes when you have realized what your destiny is. So you can't ever get there if you don't realize your destiny. And I believe that I have been given an opportunity to truly make change. And the community that I'm in, um, we all think the same way. I have to surround myself by same thinking people. And the reason that is because if you are not around like minded people, you begin to think like they think. So I have to be around like minded people. So I'm involved in a community of like minded people who are thinking the same way, who want the same things, so that my progression is upward, but it's also, I call it a pull up. We're pulling each other upward because we're all doing the same. We're all on target to accomplish the same things. That's hard to find, to be honest with you, is because you can, a lot of people say a lot of things. A lot of people say, I love people. But the minute that you say, well, I heard so and so is in need, and you say, well, I don't have anything, then that means you really don't love people. You said it. And I don't believe in lip service. If I say a thing, I do a thing. A lot of people say a thing, but they don't follow through with it because they said it because it sounded good to them. I don't do that sound good stuff. I would rather just do it. When I was young, got to tell you this story. I used to hear of, you go to church and you hear all these stories and you hear these testimonials, and people say, I needed to make my car payment and I had no money. And I went out to the mailbox and I opened up a letter and it was money in it. And I used to laugh at that as a kid. I said, they're lying. That stuff ain't true, right? And me and my friend, we would just sit there and crack up like, why would they lie? Ain't nobody putting no money in your mailbox. What are you talking about? Where does this stuff come from? Right? And so it wasn't until I got older that I understand what that was. Someone wanted to be a blessing. They knew their situation. They wanted to be a blessing, but they wanted to be unseen. So therefore, they put it in the mailbox, knew that they had to go and get the mail, and they knew that they would never even know it was them who did it. And so then I became a mailbox man.
Really? Really? Oh my God. That's so beautiful. You became a mailbox man. Oh
And
my
so,
gosh.
yeah.
I bet you, and was that your one of your family members that y'all were cracking up in church about got no
And
money
no,
in
it was
that
just,
mail?
it was just young people I grew up with. We're laughing at it. It was like a big joke. I mean, come on, you've heard these
Yeah,
stories.
I
And the
have.
truth is, how do you even believe them? You're like, come on, stop it.
But you know
Nobody
what?
does that.
When I was in church and I was little and I heard those testimonies because I grew up in the church too, I believed it all. Believed it. And the preacher would say, "Oh, all you gotta do is have just a faith of a mustard seed," and that's all. And I was like, a mustard seed. I'm asking my mom, how big is a mustard seed? And then somebody at the church had a necklace on with a mustard seed, and it's smaller than an okra seed. And I
Wow.
was like, that's all the faith that I need to move mountains. Wow, this is
Wow.
fabulous. And so I started putting that to work because
Absolutely.
I really believe, and you know what? It started happening. The
Mm,
mailbox thing started happening. And it's just so beautiful. Like certainly believe in a higher power and stuff like
that's right.
that because, whew, Lord, yes,
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
I
it's
love
it's
that.
it's interesting that you say, I believed it all. And the truth is, as a kid, you do believe it. But when you see your surroundings and you see things going wrong all the time, it makes it sometimes tough to believe. But that's called life.
Mhm.
Um, there are several things that I have discovered, and that is, as a kid, you don't have all of the information or the data. It's very hard for you to process something real as a kid because you don't know what the world really has in store. It's not until you get older. Um, I have a 16-year-old son who is probably, I'll say, he's probably one of the smartest young men on the planet. He's got a 4.6 GPA.
Wait a second.
But I know,
4.6.
I
That's
know
like
that
he's
doesn't even
taking
make sense.
advanced college courses then, right? If he
He
has,
that's all he has. He's in 11th grade and all he takes is AP courses.
where does he get his
That's it.
smarts from?
My mother.
Oh, how beautiful.
It skipped a generation.
Well,
No,
people
no, that's the
say,
truth. I don't tell no lies about it. It skipped a generation. I was a good buyer. I got A's in school, but I hate to say it, I could figure it out and just get it done. But I wasn't book smart. I was able to navigate every test I could get by. That's it. He is smart in every aspect of it. I'm talking about doesn't doesn't matter what you put in front of him, he will figure it out. And you know, just not the sidebar, but it's an important fact. This, someone out there has probably experienced this, but um, when my son was young, I played basketball and I wanted my son to play and he wanted to play. And I beat on him. I did not know what kind of child I had. And I hired a professional coach to coach him. And he was like, you got to lay off so that he can grow into his own. And I say, well, you want to cry out here, but you don't want to do the work at home. You got to be willing to do the work. That's training, that's exercising. There's a whole lot of things that goes into it. He could shoot better than me. He could dribble better than me. He could shoot with both hands. I'm great with one hand, but he could do all the things that I couldn't do. I was jealous. I was envious of a 6-year old. Can you imagine that? And so I was pushing and pushing and pushing. And then when he would get out there and have trouble and start crying, I say, don't cry out here. And so he told his mother that he did not like the man I became on the court. And that changed me drastically because I realized that I wanted him to be what I wanted. And this is the type of world we live in. We want folks to be what we think they should be versus what they need to be for themselves. And I was trying to make him into something because he had all of these gifts and skills, but he had to find his own way. And so I stepped away and I said, I'll never push him again. So he's never played since.
oh,
No, no. But he decided that he wanted to swim. And so I said, instead of me going to him, I'll go to his coach and tell the coach what I versus him. So now I live through the coach. He is now competing for the swim.
mm,
And if you could see the videos of him that I have, which I will hold them and hold them for the rest of his life, of how he cried in the water and was scared half to death. Now he swims faster. I'm telling you, he at the way he puts the work in, he could be the next best thing. That's just who he
Oh,
is. Yeah. And so to see him go from one sport to another, and he also plays soccer. To, it's just, as a parent, you have to know when to step back and let
yeah,
them do what they do. And so I learned that the hard way, but I got it.
yeah. I think that's a real thing with
Yes.
parents being jealous of their kids. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a
It
real
is.
thing,
It is.
and it's like, well, but I remember when we were young, because I have there's four girls altogether, and all of my sisters are pretty, pretty tall and beautiful and shapely, and we all look different, but they're all pretty. And I remember talking to my mom at this point. She was in her 40s, and I asked her about jealousy. Because she had all these beautiful daughters. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone would say, "Oh, Joyce, my God, your daughters are so beautiful." And my mom would say, "I just can't believe they're mine." And so I would say to her, "Well, Ma, I mean, are you jealous that, you're not young, like you used to be? I mean, you still look amazing, but are you?" And she was like, "No, I had my time. I'm
Mm.
happy to see you having yours."
Oh, well
But
said.
but that jealousy thing can really, like, where you're trying to get your kid to do something maybe you weren't able to do, and it can
Mm-hmm.
really damage them. And then once you step back, he chose what it is that he wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and you just support him along the way.
That's
And
right.
now he's doing amazing and has a 4.6.
I know. It's
A
crazy.
4.6.
I know. I
Like,
know.
who knew?
Who knew?
Right? Who knew?
You ask him, he knew.
But what's a piece of advice that you would give someone who feels like they're struggling to belong to whatever it is? Because I think you probably have the experience now to
Mhm.
say, what advice would you give?
So I always say the mirror is your best friend. People always, when I make that statement, they say, "What does that mean?" Um, when you're struggling to fit in, struggling to belong, you have to take a good look in the mirror and see what you see. And if you don't get to a point to where you love what you see, that's looking back at you, you will struggle. I would encourage love what you see, looking back at you in that mirror, because that's who you are. And when you get a grasp on that, every morning when you wake up and look in that mirror, all of a sudden you're looking with pride versus looking with doubt and fear. That's the secret. Recognizing who you are.
I think sometimes that can be challenging for some people who may not feel like they fit society's standards of
Mm,
beauty or what is considered, quote, normal. And they have a hard time, looking at themselves in the
mhm.
mirror. I know when I go for my voice lessons, my voice teacher makes me stand there and look in the mirror for like 5 minutes. Just stand there and look at yourself. I'm like, what we do? Oh, no, no, maintain eye contact with that mirror. And I'm looking, really look at yourself, because she'll say people have a hard time looking at themselves, But yeah, I think it's so important to be able
It,
to embrace what you see in that mirror, because listen, you can't really change that.
you can't. You can do all the cosmetic you want, but you can't change who's in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you said something. You said it's hard for someone to see what they think they don't like. The only reason why they think that they don't like what they see is because someone said something negative to them that stayed in their subconscious, that constantly reverberates in the back of their brain. It is not until they recognize that what that person said matters not. The
Mm.
only thing that matters is me. I love me. And if you don't tell yourself that you love yourself, no one else is going to love you. That person in the mirror you must love. And then you can grasp hold of the direction for that individual to go.
Yeah, it's so true. It's all really about embracing your own authenticity. And it seems like that's something that you've done. And how
Yes.
has that transformed your personal and professional life?
Well, I think it has allowed me to sit in a room with people who may have 100 times the wallet than me. And we can sit in the room and I feel just as equal as they. I can sit in a room with a person who has 100 times less than me and never feel like I'm bigger than they are in the room. So it has allowed me to be a chameleon in the spaces that I'm in, never feeling out of place and never making someone feel out of place at the same time.
Mm, that's so beautiful. You know, my mom always says everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, and everybody stinks in the bathroom. She didn't really say it like that, but you can kind of imagine what I'm talking
Listen,
about.
I love
And
that.
you know, she brought me up that way. So when people come in with titles and all this kind of stuff, I don't, you know, so,
That's right. That's
you
right.
know, you put your pants on one leg at a time, just like I did this morning.
That's
You
right.
know, you stink when you come out of the bathroom too. You know,
That's right. That's
human
right.
is human, honey.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely. So now, do you advise people on financial wealth? I know that you have your nose to the grind because you've certainly told me about some amazing things. But is it like you do it advising or you just share, or how does that really work? Like if someone wanted to work with you, what would that process look like?
Very good question. So I you ever heard that saying, you jack of all trades, but masters of none? You know, um, I I I am at a point now where I don't advise because I'm not an advisor, but I do share quite a bit. And I share that free of charge. Um, a lot of the stuff that I do now is not predicated on money. It's like what I told you about. That's a people win. And with something that they would have never had an opportunity to be exposed to. Those are the things that make me smile. That's the stuff that I research. Those are the things that I'm looking for. I'm looking for things that on a very small scale can be impactful to many. And so that's what I search for.
That's so beautiful. And I know my audience is absolutely loving your voice. I know people have told you, man, you should do voiceovers, but and y'all for those of y'all who don't have the visual, you just have the audio, the looks go with the voice. You know what I mean? Like distinguished, y'all.
Oh my
Like,
God.
wow. Listen, I'm a gay woman, but I can appreciate a fine specimen of a man any day. All right, y'all? Fine.
You
Okay.
know, it's funny. People always ask me, do you do voiceover? Shannon, I sang for 10 years of my life as a
You know
professional singer.
that?
No, no one does. I've done 5 albums, DVDs. All you gotta do is go to YouTube and you'd be like, oh my goodness.
Are you a
Is
bass
that
or a
you?
baritone?
100% bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All about that bass.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you're amazing. Thanks for
Yeah.
being with me today. Keep being
If
fabulous, everybody.